Dear God, please let me be as sexy, stylish, and fun as Lynne Bowman when I'm 80 years old, or even now. That'd be good. Oh my gosh, this is a good conversation. And stay till the end. You're not going to believe the famous person that Lynn dated in the 1960s. This might be one that you actually want to watch on YouTube so you can see her. And please subscribe while you're over there. So you might know by now that I reversed my heart disease and lost 20 pounds by eating a whole food plant-based diet. I made a free cookbook with my favorite recipes for you. So after the show, head over to wellelephant.com to grab it. And if you're really ready to take control of your health and reverse disease like I did, check out my online class, Ace Plant-Based Eating. Okay, here is Lynne Bowman. Hi, friend. Are you looking to age healthfully, confidently, and vibrantly? Then this podcast is for you. Smart, slightly salty, irreverent, and thought-provoking. I'm Lauren Bernig, and this is Age Like a Badass Mother. Author of Amazon best-selling Brownies for Breakfast, Lynne has been featured at women's expos across the country, teaming up with actress Deidre Hall to write and publish Deidre Hall's Kitchen Close-Up and Deidre Hall's How Does She Do It? She's won national awards as a creative director for Silicon Valley companies, was creative director at E&J Gallo Winery, advertising manager at Redken Laboratories, and freelanced for advertising agencies in San Jose, Los Angeles, and New York. She has also worked as an actress, makeup artist, screenwriter, illustrator, legal journalist, and possibly the worst television weather person in the history of broadcasting. You can get in touch with her at lynnebowman.com, LYNNEBOWMAN. Welcome, this fabulous, badass lady, Lynne Bowman. Welcome.
First of all, how much do I love the fact that badass is right there in your title? I mean, yes.
It's in the name.
Let's do this, girls.
Yeah. I mean, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start with you because you've had such like a crazy illustrious career, but just tell me some of the highlights and how you got to where you are. And you just shared with me that you are in your 80th year. If you guys, you have to look at this on YouTube. Oh my God, this woman is gorgeous.
And how much do we always love to hear that? But I also come from a time before the dawn of time, because I'm this old, when we did things very differently and we thought differently, and what was in front of us as women was so different. And I love talking about that, Lauren, because, the young'uns, and I'm happy to say I have some wonderful young'uns in my life, both my own kids and some friends who are 20, 23, 25. They are coming into a very, very different world than I did. And so, when you read my resume, and believe me, that's just a chopped, very, very edited
Oh, I
version
can
of it.
tell.
But back in the day, we did whatever there was to do. We lied, we cheated, we, borrowed things to make it look like we could do a thing because there was just so little available except teaching, nursing, as you all
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
trad wifing. Um,
But what did
and
you want to be? Like what put you on this trajectory for all these creative things? Were you always just a creative entity?
what I wanted to be, I think, as I really work hard to think back before the dawn of time, what I wanted to be was a fashion illustrator. Um,
Oh.
I loved clothes and, costume, and I was always doing art, and that just seemed like and that was the thing that didn't bother anybody. That was a just fine thing for a girl to do.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
so I was able to go ahead and do that. And, then things kind of change as you grow up. Big moment in my life was when my mother died when I was 18.
Mm.
So, and she had been ill for a long time, chronic disease, which actually goes to our other conversation that we're going to have pretty soon. Um, and so at the age of 19, 20, I forget exactly, one-way ticket to Europe to Paris. No phone, no money. I had a passport and, guts, you know,
Wow.
wasn't too smart. So,
Oh, that's not true.
well, but you know what I'm saying?
What were you going there to do?
I was going there to be a fashion illustrator.
Oh, that okay, so you were still
But,
doing fashion.
that was my cover coming up. I was going there because I had just always thought, "Okay, Paris, Paris, that's where I'm gonna go," because it was everything that I thought was wonderful and cool. I'd been at UCLA for 3 semesters. Boring. It was just, yeah. I can remember sitting in a geology class with 500 other overprivileged, bored people in the dark going, "Why why am I here?" I've just had
Mhm.
this horrible my mom was gone, but also my dog was gone, my house was gone, my dad had gone on to a different life, my siblings were gone. So all my tethers were cut, and it was 1966. It was 64 when I graduated from high school, and those if you've got any sense at all of the history of civil rights or anything, those are very seminal years. The world was on fire, it was changing, and we didn't know what was gonna happen, kinda like now, in a way,
Yes.
but, I just thought, "Okay, I'm going to Paris." That's that, and
And so were you a fashion illustrator there?
I did some, and it was pretty decent. Oh, there's one kind of up behind me, uh, but I didn't have that burning thing that was gonna be, my life. I just thought, "Well, this is fun," you know, and and I ended up going to Bordeaux, nannying, staying with a friend. Uh, I went to University of California at Bordeaux for a few weeks, something, and then went to Paris and met up with friends and we didn't plan everything out back in the day. I mean, there might have been an unusual maybe you were one of those who thought, "Okay, I don't care. I'm gonna be a doctor, or a lawyer, or, a great author or something." But it didn't seem to me like there was much point in planning because what was that gonna look like? I mean, I didn't even know. I always wanted to be a mom. I wanted to have a family, wanted to have a home because mine was gone, I think, and that felt like it would be grounding and wonderful. But that also seemed remote in many ways.
Mhm.
So, but the thing I knew how to work. I had worked since I was 12, 13, and I liked working, whether it was nannying or helping set up tables or whatever it was. I was fine with that. And, so when I got back to the United States, I found work right away. It wasn't as difficult in that time, and I could write, which I didn't even think was a thing, you know? But, yeah, I could put a sentence together and put a paragraph together, and, um, I went to work for ITT Cannon Electric in LA, and I'm gonna tell that story because I hadn't been there very long, and one of the vice presidents came down to the basement where I was in the publications department and took me aside after a little conference with my boss and said, we really can't dress this way here. You need to dress more professionally." I had on a mini skirt. I can still remember the dress. It was a little yellow number, very short and cute, and little puffy sleeves. And, I had just come back from London and Paris. And so, of course, I was trying hard to look like Twiggy, and not doing a bad job of that. But in corporate America, it was just, uh, who is the girl downstairs in publications? Get her out of here.
Dressed in
So,
her cute miniskirt.
yeah, which, also, I don't know how different your background is in it, but I got fired a fair amount of times.
Oh,
And
yeah. I
I
got
think
fired.
that's hugely forming. I mean, I think that's a big fat part of being badass in a way because fired, fine. Yeah, see you. Okay, bye-bye. Moving on.
Yeah.
Um,
What were some of the things that you did, and how did you end up, like, being a creative director and writing these books with Deirdre Hall and
well, the story goes on with the yellow mini dress. I mean, I actually I
Oh,
probably was there for a few more weeks, but then a guy came in, was talking to my boss, and he came over and talking to me, and he said, I am working for this company out in the valley that's a great cosmetic company. They're new, they're interesting, they're doing a thing. So, funny thing, I found myself out there applying for work at Redken Laboratories, which was at that time privately held, rather small in Van Nuys. And the president was a woman named Paula Kent. And I was there about 3 weeks. And I went in on a Monday morning, and everyone but me had been fired in the advertising department.
whoa.
So, guess what I said? I'll handle it. I'm like 21 years old and just full of myself, and loved Paula Kent and loved the job. And I was surrounded by all these wonderful men, these gay men who were in the beauty business, and so fun and different than the guys I've been working with at ITT Cannon Electric. So I told her I would work my buns off and do everything to pull it, and by golly, I did, for the next 3, 4 years. And I asked all my vendors to teach me everything they knew. So the job also ended up being this graduate course in printing and paper reproduction and, advertising, media, buying, all of it. These people who were selling to me were more than happy to teach me how to buy from them. So I loved it. I mean, it was all swell. And had a great little apartment on Coldwater Canyon, and rode my bike to work, which she made me park in the back because she thought it was tacky to have bicycles in the front of the office. So, times change in so
Right,
many ways.
exactly. That's
Um, but I
oh
loved the
my
job, and
gosh.
then I suddenly woke up one day, and I can't even completely remember what my thinking was, except I am gonna be 45 years old and single, and my life will be gone, and I will have been here in this company the whole time. So, you know, pretty soon there I was off for Europe again. And instead of taking a hiatus or, whatever, I just kissed them all goodbye and thanked them and left. And what did I do next? I'd have to
How
really,
old were you at that point?
I think I was 25,
So you stayed there a few
26,
years.
maybe. And so I did some freelance stuff. And then I went to North Carolina to see my brother who was doing some work back there, had a development. And I met a guy at a horse show. How many stories start like that?
I met a guy at a horse show.
Met a guy at a horse show, of course. And we got to talking, and he said, "What do you do?" And I don't know, I made up some shit. And he said, "Well, we're looking for someone at the NBC affiliate here in Wilmington, North Carolina. You want to send me a reel?" And so, guess what I did, Laura?
You made a reel.
Sent him a reel. And incredibly, he hired me. And so I packed up my stuff, and y talking about Deidre and what we did together, one of my earliest memories of her, I met her actually, she was a hair model. She was a model, like, just freshly minted
So she
from
was
some
on a soap opera, right?
Days
What
of
was
Our
she
Lives.
on? Days of
And
Our
you know
Lives,
what?
okay.
It is still on the air, and it is gonna continue to be on the air, don't you bet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah,
I
and
didn't realize that.
this is 50 years.
Is she still in it?
Yes, she is Dr. Marlena Evans, the wise
Yes.
and sexy, and beautiful, uh, psychiatrist and, person who
Oh my gosh.
has
Wait,
the
so how'd you meet her?
so she was a model, and I hired her to be a hair model at Redken.
Mm.
But the way we've already talked about, she walked in the door. I had seen this beautiful head sheet of this glamorous blonde, and I thought, wow, she's looks like, the American, and she's just no hair, and it's all perfect. Okay, she's perfect. Um, she walks in the door, and she's very skinny and freckly. And she looks at me, and I look at her, and we just fell madly in love. I mean,
Oh.
in that second, okay, you're my people. Yeah,
Yes,
okay, you're my
yes, you just know.
'cause she was faking it, I was faking it, but we were both making it faking it.
That's
It was
right.
okay.
You weren't faking it. You were making it. Well, so, okay, so then you're in North
So I was in
Carolina.
North Carolina, and I had married a fella and was about to have my first baby, and she came back to stay with me. And then she got this offer from Days of Our Lives. And so she had to leave before the baby actually was born. And he is going to be 50 in a week, that
Oh my
baby.
gosh, and she's been on Days of Our Lives for
Yeah.
50 years. That's incredible.
I know.
And so is this where you were the worst weather person?
Yes, in Wilmington, North Carolina. And
Why were you the worst weather person?
back there, um, with my fabulous wardrobe and attitude and everything, and he had to explain to me that they were going to start me on weather. It's like, wait, I was going to do news. No, you're going to do weather. Uh, okay. Of course, I did not know dip about weather. I mean, absolutely. I grew up in LA. I was born in Hollywood.
It's sunny.
I
It's
I
sunny
had
every
never
day.
seen weather. I had never seen any. So it was awkward, to say the least. And
I'm
then
sure you
they
were
had the
good.
biggest storm they'd had in 100 years, and it went downhill from there. Um, and it ended the way many jobs for young women end. I don't need to tell the whole story, but um, I was out of there.
I read in part of your autobiography or your biography that you and Deidre Hall wrote this book, and it's, what beauty is and why it matters. They include never shop for clothes or accessories with a child, a dog, or a heterosexual man. I love it. And then know which stores or brands offer clothes whose fit models match you. And I think that's so important because I know that there are stores where I can't shop because I'm like, this is for tall people or this is, but tell me some of those things that went into this book, how this book came about. These things are so interesting to me because I think style and the way you present yourself matters a lot.
We are soul sisters, my darling. Um, this is a thing that people feel a little awkward about sometimes. We seem to have separated style and costume into the very wealthy ones who can afford stuff that we wouldn't if we could, where it's all about the money. And then the rest of us poor little schmooze who have to buy stuff at regular retail. And that's an artificial, obviously, thing, but still we seem to be buying the story that if you're not wearing Jimmy Choos or, Manolo Blahniks or whatever, you're just not cool. That if you're not wearing good jeans, you're not okay. And there couldn't be anything further from the truth. Um, and I'm having so many thoughts about this right now for a number of reasons. One, I watched an incredible, well, I won't say incredible, a fascinating, it was credible, and it was fascinating documentary last night about the fashion industry and how behind cars and airplanes, I think it was, fashion is the biggest waster and user of fossil fuels on the
Hmm.
planet and the biggest creator of plastic waste on the planet. And
Fast fashion. Yeah.
let that sink in for a minute,
Yes. Yes.
And so number 1, ladies, we're not in the 70s anymore. We're not in the 60s, 50s anymore. This is a new time when we need to really think deeply about where our costumes, our clothes come from, and how often we think we need to replace them. Um, and as of last night, I'm never buying anything again. I'm done.
You could buy them at thrift stores. I buy a lot at vintage or thrift stores. I really do. Ever since I heard about that.
Absolutely. And my daughter and I both love fixing old things for ourselves and putting
Oh yeah.
appliques on them and adding a pocket and so
Yeah.
on. I thought I was a little
But
odd that way, but and the young ones are really into vintage shopping. I'm thrilled to hear
yes.
that. But
But
this
what
is
are some things that women should be what are some things we should have in our wardrobe? Talk about the fit model thing because I don't think people realize that about their body types and
well, yeah, it seems almost, kind of, I don't know, old-fashioned now, but there are definitely I'll give you 1 or 2 examples. Eileen Fisher is definitely because that's a common one. We've all seen Eileen Fisher. If we haven't bought Eileen Fisher, we've seen it in the magazines and in the malls, and that is definitely for a woman of, sort of mid to larger stature. Someone who doesn't want a waistline emphasized, someone who wants to be a little bit hidden by their clothes. And Eileen Fisher does a great job of making those comfortable but sort of chic things for people who don't want something fitted. None of it
right.
is
Can you
fitted.
can you get
Um,
that at Nordstrom Rack? I feel like I've seen that at Nordstrom or Nordstrom Rack.
Oh, I think you can probably, and then a TJ Maxx probably too. Any of the
Mhm.
discounters are
Mhm.
probably carrying Eileen Fisher
Yeah.
at this point. Um, but yeah, that's the one that I would suggest people are really familiar with. And then there are some, because I'm typically not shopping in the size 00
No, I
section
don't think
myself
anybody is
either.
anymore.
But I would say Gap as another common one goes from mid-size to much smaller. But from size 12 up, you're probably going to be in trouble there. And the fit model idea is, do you have broad shoulders? Do you have a tiny waist? You're going to have to find the brand that cuts for broad shoulders or a tiny waist or a not so tiny waist. And there are so many of them out there that it's a little hard. I've always loved shopping when I've shopped at the TJ Maxxes of the world because all the pants are on one rack and you can
Right.
pick up 10 pairs of pants and take them
That's what
to
I
the
love.
fitting room and go, okay,
Mhm.
this brand didn't work. This brand didn't work. This brand didn't. Okay, here's a brand that works. And then when you go back to the rack, you can pull more of that fit model from that brand in that size,
Yeah.
and they'll work for you.
I was talking about, the brand that I absolutely know I cannot wear is Ann Taylor Loft. They used to have one at my mall, and that's for I think tall women. Like I'm kind of petite. I'm like 5'3", but I was like, this is not. Nothing has ever looked good on me in that store. So if you're tall, that might be a good store for you. But what are like some basics we should have in our wardrobe that can like so we don't go out looking all schlumpy every day in our yoga pants? And I mean, you can even cute up your yoga pants, I think, with like boots and stuff. But Tell
Oh,
tell us
honey,
some
what would we do without yoga pants?
I know, I live in them. But yeah, tell us some things that, women should have in their wardrobe or some style tips.
Well, okay, but I'll also start with, if you do a little something with your hair, and I think I can illustrate that on camera here. I do nothing with my hair. I pull it back in a little knot,
And it's
and
beautiful.
and it still doesn't work quite right, and I slick it back. But I've obviously made an effort, and it's not in my face and not in
Yes.
my way. Now, if I had your hair, I would
I
go
was
out
gonna
and
say, mine's in my way and in my face. Should I be like, pull I probably should
no, I would
pull
just
it
go out
back.
in the hair, honey. I wouldn't need to wear anything else. That's all I would need. Uh, but so start with the attitude that whatever you have on is working. It's right. So comb your hair, put some lip glue on, and I mean, I'm still wearing stretchy black things all the time, and there are a lot of people who say, "Oh, black, black. I'm so sick of black." Well, I wear black and white sometimes. Or I wear black and hot pink sometimes.
Yes.
But we all want comfort now, and
Yeah.
as well we should. Um, how do I prescribe this? It's a whole kind of a bigger question because it's about you. It's about what you want to project, what you look like. And when I'm teaching the young ones about it, what I always say is dress the way you want to be treated.
Mm.
And so in my case, I try and dress like deposed royalty.
I love it.
Love it. That's not for everyone, but it can work, you know, if you want a seat on a bus or whatever. I mean, if you have a couple of cute jackets, 2 or 3. My favorite trick, and this is not exclusive to me in any way, and something you see Deidre using, is when you have a few, 3, 4, 5, whatever, pretty nice jackets that fit, that are the right cut for you, that are your colors, you're kind of set because underneath that stretchy black thing, pair of jeans, white t-shirt, it doesn't take much if your pants fit reasonably well or if they're meant to be loose, but you have that jacket, and then you can do a
Yeah.
little scarf and, little bracelet, and you're good to go.
I think that's good. I think, and you can, those are some of the things that maybe you want to spend a little more on because it's something that's going to be like a staple that you keep in your wardrobe, and maybe you go to a department store where somebody can actually help you, not like TJ Maxx, but you can pick up. I'm not saying you can't get something at TJ Maxx, but that might be something where you go to an actual department store and have somebody really who might understand body types and, help you get something that looks really good on you.
Grab your gay best friend and go to TJ
Yep.
Maxx,
Well, that's true.
or
Yeah.
just your girlfriend who really gets it, who will be
Yeah.
honest with you, and,
Yes.
there's nothing
Doesn't
like
just tell you it looks good.
your girlfriend saying, "Well, I like it from the front, but when you turn around, I mean, the butt's just not working."
Right.
You need
Yes.
somebody
Your
else's
honest friend.
eyes on you, I think, if you're shopping,
Mhm.
seriously shopping. And you don't need to pay a ton for a good jacket, but it does need to fit, and it does need to be in your colors, and it needs to be in a not crazy right now style. I mean, I'm a
Right.
big
More
believer
classic.
in a sort of, um, unfortunately, Ralph Lauren's my fit model.
Oh,
Okay, but
that's
I don't never
good
never at
and
full
bad.
retail. Never,
Yes.
never. I mean, but that's the look that seems to work for me. And so I will, of course, look for ripoffs of that. But
Mhm.
it's for me, it's a pretty tailored, pretty conservative kind of jacket and things to go with it.
That's that's really good. I feel like we should move on and talk about your book, Brownies for Breakfast. How did this book get birthed and what brought this on?
You mean this one that I just happen to have
This
handy
one
here?
just happen to
Um,
have? It's a
this
beautiful
got
book.
this got birthed how? I'm diabetic. And, I'm type 2 diabetic, and I have been since my 40s, and because there was very little good information available and the doctors were not helpful, I have been teaching myself for decades how to stay healthy, and what that involves. And I also am a single mother, for most of it, of 3 kids, and I was also, as we've already discussed, working all the time. So I learned how to eat very healthy and feed my children in a healthy way. But I had to be able to put it on the table in 15 minutes after we got home. And it had to be cheap. So that's what this book is how and why. I do some explanation here, but no sort of cellular biology bullshit. I just wanted somebody to tell me, what do you eat? What do you do? Tell me what I should do. And I don't want 200 pages of explanation, physics, all of it. I just don't have time for that. So I did that book for you, for anybody who wants to know what to do to get
What
to
to
be
eat
very old and crusty, um, and healthy.
and still healthy. Well, so is this book whole food plant-based?
Say
Is it
again?
whole food? Is this book whole food plant-based?
It absolutely is. It's real food, whole food, plant forward, plant based, but I include the hacks for everybody. If you want to eat fish, great, here's how. If you want to eat some meat, here's how. If you want to be vegetarian, good, just do this. If you're vegan, here's the hack for that. Because it's not really very different. The main thing that I talk about that is so hard for people to, even now, knowing what everybody knows, is you have to quit sugar. And I don't mean slow down or be careful or manage it. I mean, can I be potty mouth here? Is it
Yeah,
okay?
of course. You can say whatever the hell you want.
And I say, fucking quit,
Yes, you can say
quit.
fucking.
Because after you quit, your chemistry will change. In
Mhm.
3 weeks, your saliva will change, will be different. Your food will taste different. Your skin will already look different. And so it's a very rewarding thing actually to do, unlike a lot of dieting. You don't have to wait 6 months. You will see this and feel this. But so many people, I mean, it's emotional, right? It's deeply psychological. People don't want you to take their nannies away, their treats. But what I offer for you are treats that are better than the ones you're eating, more beautiful, way healthier, and easier to make. But you just make them with different stuff.
Start spilling of how you get to be 80 years old and look the way you look. Let's get to the meat of the situation here, Lynn. What do you
Okay.
do?
What do I do to look the way I look?
Yes, to look so gorgeous. I mean, you really do. You're so youthful and I mean, not that we want that to be the goal. Maybe that's I'm not saying this right, but I mean you do. You just look absolutely stylish and extraordinary and just aside from eating well, what do you do to take care of yourself?
I'm going to have to play this over and over again so I can hear it in every moment of the day. Um, what I do is I eat well, and that's why I'm here talking to you and anyone who will listen. How to make your skin look good? Eat well. No crap. Stop, stop, stop. Stop eating crap right now. Um, that's number one. Absolutely. And same for energy. You cannot have energy if you don't put it in. And if you are eating fast food, if you're eating out of a bag or a box, you're eating crap for the most part. You don't know what's in that food. I know it's fast. I know it might taste kind of good in a way, but no, you can't. And you cannot be 80 and happy if you're not healthy for the most part. Maybe there are people who are unhealthy at 80 who manage to find a way to be happy, but I think your chances are way, way better if you are healthy and you're not depending on someone else to
Mhm.
take care of you at that moment. Um,
What do you do for
so,
exercise?
okay, good point. I was going to go there because I am not alone in this. Lots of information, lots of studies coming out about how weight training, resistance training is essential for us. And as it happens, we have a wonderful little local gym with a wonderful trainer, Tiago, who is great with all of us women of a certain age because he's PT trained. I mention that, physical therapy trained, because if you are of a certain age, you need to be careful not to be working with a trainer or in a gym where you can get hurt. You want to be sure you've got
Yes.
some guidance, especially because if, like me, you had never done a lot of weight training or upper body kind of stuff, I mean, we were doing the Jane Fonda thing, or dancing or doing, um, the salsa stuff, which all good. But when you start weight training, and my high so far has been a deadlift of 90 pounds, which sounds
Wow.
like a lot, but
That
if
is
you
a
know
lot.
how to use your body to do that, you can do it. I just I needed to be taught, most of us do need to be taught how to manage that kind of weight. Another really, really important thing is to eat your last food no later than 5, 4 in the afternoon. Stop.
Ooh,
Eat. No, you could, you know what?
I'm not doing a
Eat.
good job of that.
Not very few of us are. And of course, it's a luxury if you've got kids to feed and you've got that thing that happens when everybody comes home at 6, 7 o'clock, and maybe they don't get home from practice till 8, whatever. That's a problem. But for you, if you are the one managing all that and yourself and your sleep, first of all, know that you cannot heal. None of us can heal. Our cells can't heal unless we are in deep REM sleep. Did you know that?
Right. Yes.
So many people, I think, don't know that, have never heard that.
Well, I talk to experts about sleeping all the time. So yes, I
You
did
do.
I
Yes,
did know that. And if you
yes,
listen to this podcast with any regularity, you've probably definitely heard that idea. But I have not heard to stop eating by 4 or 5 o'clock. And
yes.
why is that? So you can digest and then tell me why.
Autophagy.
Oh, Dr. Greger did talk about that on
Yeah.
the podcast.
And he was a pioneer, and a lot more people are on that boat now. But it's the process by which your cells renew themselves and get rid of the bad cells that aren't working anymore. It's a cleansing process that can only take place when you stop shoveling food in. And so you need to leave a minimum of 14, better yet 15, 16, even more hours between your last bite and your next bite. And it's only when you kind of do the math and go, okay, well, if I've eaten at 5, then my next meal is not until maybe 8 or 9 the next morning. That's plenty of time. Yeah, that's plenty of time.
Well, so what you're kind of talking about intermittent fasting then, and I guess what for me, like I would probably what I do is a little bit different because I finished eating by like 7 o'clock at night, but then I don't eat till later the next day, maybe 10 o'clock in the morning. So kind of am doing the same thing, but
You are.
10, 11 o'clock. Okay. But I'm just on a different schedule because I cannot.
I
Yeah. I
highly
need to do it a
recommend
different way.
to improve the quality of your sleep to scooch it a little earlier and see if you don't have a better sleep pattern by leaving more time between your last meal and when you turn the lights out.
But I go to bed late, which I know is not good either. But I mean, I probably don't go to bed till midnight. So, and sleep till like 8 o'clock. I mean, I'm on the summer schedule. I don't know what to tell you about life, but I sleep like midnight to 8 o'clock generally. So you're making a face at me. Look,
No,
this is just my life. I don't know what to tell you. I've tried different things, but my husband stays up till like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. We're not doing. I know. I'm not. Look, I can't even start to touch his schedule because that's what he does. But he sleeps later. But I just go to bed later. That's just how it is at my house.
if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. But if you're having trouble sleeping, a thing you can try, any of y'all listening to this, is leave more time between your last meal and when you turn the lights out.
Yep.
And in almost every case, you'll find that you have deeper, longer, better sleep with an
Yes.
empty stomach.
Do you have a favorite health or beauty product?
I love bioidentical, topically applied hormones.
That's yeah. Okay.
It's definitely a beauty product. Um, they're compounded by someone I know, and if you buy them, they'll be compounded by someone you know. And they're not particularly expensive when you compare. I can't believe what people are paying for cosmetics now. I mean,
Where do you is this something so this is what I was telling you. I was the director of advertising for a journal that went to compounding pharmacists for
yeah,
25 years. So yeah, I've read up a lot about it. I think that that's a interesting way to go. What kind do you get and where do you apply it on your body? Or does it have like estrogen, testosterone,
Using
progesterone?
estradiol and I'm using progesterone, and I use them on my face. They supposedly are to go kind of around your eyes, and then you do this with the progesterone until it soaks into your hands. And
She's
I
rubbing her hands together for people who are just listening.
okay, rubbing my hands together. And, I use them twice a day, morning and night. And your other question was,
I think I just asked you what your favorite health and beauty product was. What else did I ask you?
um,
Oh, I asked where you apply it, what it is and where you apply it. Okay.
so
So I didn't know if that was
I apply the estradiol all over my face.
I didn't know you
And
could do
I
that.
do that because the doctor who prescribed them for me, a friend, Dr. Selma Rashid, look her up, she's got a great book out. She said, "It's the best night cream you'll ever use." You know, it's not made to be a night cream, but, I think she's right. And again, the cost of these creams and potions that I'm seeing now, and yes, I have occasionally found myself in Sephora. My excuse is I have a granddaughter who is 17. So, yeah, sometimes, you'll accidentally fall in the door of Sephora.
What happened? I woke up and I was in Sephora. Yes, I've had
It's
that before.
crazy, and I
Mhm.
came out with these samples, right?
Yes. I know, I love it. Well,
Who doesn't love
what's
that?
your I love it. I know that. What's your favorite concert you've ever been to?
Back in the day, Lauren, I hung
Yes.
out at the Palomino Club in North Hollywood, which you wouldn't know because you're a young chick. Um,
I don't know about
but
that.
a lot of the biggest acts in country music came through there, but there were only maybe 50, 60 people in the room in the audience. So I got to meet them all and enjoyed it thoroughly. And then when people like the Stones or the Beatles came to California, that's where they hung out because they wanted to meet the people they admired, Buck Owens
Oh, yeah.
like Waylon Jennings and the crazy guys, Charlie Pride. So that
Charlie
was
Pride was my first concert. I was at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo when I was, like, 10 years old. That
there
was the
you go.
first person I ever saw was Charlie Pride.
Well,
Yeah.
he and I sat in the back of the Palomino Club, and he played his songs that he was writing for me.
Oh,
I
wow.
mean, he played them for me. He wasn't writing them for me,
Right.
but he was darling, and I've always been mad for musicians. I love hearing them and talking to them and understanding their process, and um, so I feel really privileged to have done that. Oh, concert! You know who I went to Las Vegas to see Elvis. I actually
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a big one you forgot there. Hello.
Well, it's just that, the musicians have been a big part of my life, but I never thought about it being concerts, and I think he was one of the few that I actually paid, retail to be there at the same time that there was a convention of operating room nurses who, believe me, when he came out, and he was in his glory. He was slender and just coming back for his big comeback, and that wonderful music would play, for him to come out. And those women were throwing their wigs on the stage. I kid you not. They were out of their minds. It was
Oh,
so
I
funny.
believe it.
Um, and the lounge act, the free lounge act was Tina Turner.
Oh
Ike and
my
Tina.
god.
I know.
Wow. Okay, well, so you did I knew you had
So
something in
that's
you.
got
I
to be
knew
up
you
there at
had a
the table.
story in you. Mhm. Mhm. What, have you ever dated or anybody famous? Why do I feel like you have?
I, I didn't
No?
hear that. Can you repeat that?
Did you ever date anybody famous?
Yeah.
Who is that? Do you wanna
Uh-huh.
share? Let's hear it.
Actually, it's kind of a sweet story if you've got some more time.
Yeah, tell me. I just
Um,
had a feeling you dated somebody
I
famous. I
went
don't know why.
Well, there was more than one, but, I mean, I was in LA, but
Yep.
the story that I think is the most fun for me to remember is, that I went to my 20th high school reunion, um, broke ass, divorced, kind of a mess. And as many of us are at that point, it's kind of a rough time in your life. Um, and my girlfriend Dee gave me the clothes, dressed me all up, and sent me off to I think it was the Hilton in Pasadena. And one of my acquaintances came up to me and said, "Lynne Parmiter, you're the one in the book?" And I went, "What book?" And he said, "Oh, didn't you know that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar just came out with an autobiography and you're in it?" I mean,
What?
my first thought was, it was the 60s. Hey. Um, but so of course I went out immediately, as soon as I could get out of there, and found a copy of it because it was just hitting the stands. And there it was, a number of pages about how I had just disappeared from his life and gone away. Uh, and I had no clue, Lauren, that I was his first big crush. He was a year behind me at UCLA, and he was in my English class. And I had told him that I really enjoyed what he was writing and, thought it was brilliant. And so we would sit under the trees the way you do when you're in college, and he would bring me a book of poetry and we'd read it and we'd talk about Ferlinghetti and all those things, brilliant, smarty things that you do in college. And I really, really liked an enormously brilliant, bright guy, and living a difficult life. I mean, here he was. I didn't know dip about basketball, never went to the games, couldn't care less. And he was such a remarkable looking person. He was so tall and black and, not the usual kind of guy that you would see wandering the halls of UCLA just for his size. And so he couldn't escape. Here was someone who was so marked by the way he looked, and then his fame. I mean,
Was
he
he already famous? At
yes, as a freshman at UCLA, he was everywhere, but not in the places that I was seeing. I mean, because I didn't watch TV, and I wasn't in that world. Um, so he didn't
Wow.
realize. I've already told you, I left UCLA after 3 semesters. I went to France. I never said goodbye. I never thought I needed to say goodbye.
Oh, wow.
Who
And then
cares?
you end up in the book and you broke his
And then I
heart.
ended up in the book. And so I went back to work at an advertising agency in San Jose, day or two later, and called his office and said, just tell him thank you, that I read it, and thank you. It was really sweet. And then my office phone rang about a half an hour later, and it was him. Um, and so we were able to get together a few times, quite a bit for a while. But he lived in LA. I lived in San Jose. I had 3 little kids. He had a family. We were both between marriages, um, and love him. Always will. Always have. But it wasn't a thing that could happen. And I have to say, I don't know how women who have lives and careers and so on, how you make a good life with someone in athletics, professional athletics. You become that. There is no room for anything but that in your life.
Yeah. I think there's some reality shows about that. I think you're absolutely right. He's an extraordinary person. I mean, just I from the movie Airplane, like he was so funny in that movie. Like how long ago was that movie? And I still remember his performance and I still remember he was in it. He was so that genuine and funny and you could tell
Everybody
like
loves
just
that. Yeah.
yeah, he
And
was
and
great.
he's a lot of guy in there. There's just so much going. He has a
Yes.
Substack, by the way, I recommend for
Oh, he
everyone.
does?
Yes.
And so
Just
does Lynn, everybody. Lynn has a
yeah,
Substack as
yeah.
well.
And
Interesting.
I appreciate connecting that way with y'all, anybody who wants to connect. I try to
Yes.
answer anybody who talks to me on Substack. And I haven't been good about doing it every 3 days or every 5 days or whatever. I'm a little
Right.
erratic, but who cares?
It's
But
okay.
Kareem is
Doesn't matter.
constant. You would enjoy reading his take on things, I think.
Yeah, I
Super smart guy.
would. Well, Lynn,
Mhm.
thank you for sharing everything with us. You're just a wonderful human, and I've loved getting to know you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And let's do it again.
Yes, let's do it again. Thanks for listening, friend. From my heart to yours, be well until we meet again.